my son's toy room, so
Okay.
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go grab something.
Okay, great.
Am I on?
You are on.
All right. Okay, thank you everybody. Before we get started, I want you to do an online virtual round of applause or snaps for Hillary for putting this together. All right, we'll get that
I feel the
going.
love. I feel the
For the
love.
love, for the love. Okay, yeah, so when we were talking about doing this, a topic was brought up, and how, or is there anything that I think that could be added that is not in the book, in our training manual? And so when we talked about negotiations, it was something that really excited the both of us, and I have some experience in it. So I felt like it was something that I would love to share with you guys. And so with Hillary helping and at the helm of this project, I'm excited, and we're both excited to kick this off for the first time ever. So there's a lot of information, everyone, and I hope to deliver the best as I can. And if you guys are ready, I'm ready to kick it off. Cool? All right. So this is me, lovely picture of me. The first thing when we're talking about artists in negotiations, okay, it's always, it feels weird, it feels uncomfortable. It's kind of a setting that not too many of us are accustomed to being in. So we always look to have, you're either afraid to do it, you want someone else to do it for you, or you just avoid it at all costs, right? So these are some questions that I have. First one is, this is just things to oh, where are we at? Where's my thing? Okay. So questions to ask yourself. And if you have something where, if it's a comment or if you're on Zoom and there's a chat, I want you to write one word that describes your art's business. Okay, we'll take a little bit of time, maybe 10 seconds for you guys to think of a word that pops up. Don't think too hard, just the first one that comes up. What is one word that describes your art's business? And I can't see anything, so I'll check these later. Okay. Number two. What is one word that describes your negotiation skills? Ha ha ha. All right. Number three. What is one word that describes how you feel during a negotiation? So when you're in that room and you're in that chair and you have someone across from you, how do you feel? All right. This is perfect. This is a different style of training where no one responds back and I'm looking at myself in the computer. Okay, here we go. You guys ready? Got all your words in there, your chat's going, your comments are flying. Let's kick it off. All right, before you even get into a meeting, there's a whole bunch of things that you must prepare for. And so we have a pre-meeting checklist, and we're gonna go down some bullets. Maybe I should move this. Let's go on this side. Do you need a negotiating meeting? So I think a lot of times people jump the gun with like needing to find someone to have a meeting with, when in reality, maybe you can just do it on your own. Maybe you don't need to go that far. Okay, so those are things, just basic things to think about before you kick this off. Do you even need a negotiating meeting? Okay, what is going on here? When you're thinking about going and you're progressing into, okay, I want to get into a meeting, I want something, figure out what it is that you want as an artist. What is it that you can gain from it, okay? The next step is to build a game plan on what you want and what you can give. And as I go through this whole slide, there's going to be things that repeat or come up later in the presentation, but it's because it pops up every now and then. And with negotiations, things are so flexible, they fly all over the place. So it's just a matter of collecting all these different avenues of movement. So when you build a game plan, what you want and what you can give. So as an artist, you're not just going to keep taking. I want this, I want that, I want money, I want this. What can you give? Okay, think about those things as well. The next was is to decide what you would like to get out of this negotiation. Decide what you would like to get out of this negotiation you want to do. So I don't know if that makes sense to myself right now. So what you want to look to is what type of deal do you want? Okay. And so when I broke it down, there's types of deals where you'll sit across from someone and you think about, this is someone or a company or representative that I want to build a working relationship with, something long-term. Okay. Another setting might be if you sit down with someone and you are just looking to improve your business. And a one-time deal would be, I'm not looking to make a relationship with this person. I'm not really putting more eggs in the basket than it needs to be. And I'm just going to do a one-shot deal, one and done. Okay. Next bullet is determine who you are negotiating with. You want to go straight to the source. So you want to find the owner, the manager, the representative, someone who makes the decisions. A lot of times people will waste time by talking to someone or talking about their ideas with someone who might be a customer sales service agent and has no power to make those decisions for you. So what you want to do is figure out how you can get up the chain, an email, a phone number, a contact of the person that actually makes decisions. You'll save yourself a lot of time. And when you start to, when you get excited about something, you'll spill ideas. And heaven forbid something like this happens, but ideas get thrown out into that world. You let it out, and then someone might take it and run with it, and then act faster than you would. So you want to make sure that you're meeting with someone that is the company representative or of that stature. Okay. The next tab we have is know your value. What is the product? What is the value of your product or service? So as artists, we are, there's all different mediums. You have performing artists. I'm a performing artist. You have, visual arts, spoken word. There's all types of art out there, and valuing what you have is probably the hardest thing to do as an artist, because a lot of the things aren't tangible. And then when you're negotiating things, there's no sale price ticket on everything. So it's, how do you figure it out? What's the equation, right? How do you figure all that? So the KPI, the key performance indicators, these are things that you want to have going into a meeting or preparing for it. I can go into this on Wednesday, or if you have any questions for it, but you want to know your sales revenue, gross, net profit margin, sales. Should be in the other one, should be your pricing, but how many or how much can you offer of your product or service? So I'm a musician, what can I do and what can I offer? How long can I offer it? Visual artist, what can I paint? What can I weave? How much can I do in this given amount of time? Okay. Know your price in the market compared to the median. So I know this is a problem in arts in general, but in indigenous arts, this is also a very big problem, where the going rate for something might be $50, but you just want to sell it. So you'll do it less than what the market average is. And so you'll sell it for 25. And what you're doing is kind of destroying that median level of how artists price their work. And so it'll be a forever battle until all artists get on the same page and figure out, like, hey, we're tired of getting underpriced or being undervalued. And that just comes with pricing your product or service correctly in the market. I feel like this is a whole nother topic, but for yourself, you want to measure out if you have, tons of experience or expertise, a trade that was passed down to you from generations, and you have the knowledge. You want to price it correctly. So if, the average price is of someone who's just starting out is $50. You want to make sure that you're a little bit above it because you value your time and your products, right? Your quality. So know your value. Not only does your value come at product and service, but it also comes with time, the time that you take to do your product or service. When you're doing your meetings, the time from point A to point B, you got to go to the store. How much time does it take, including meetings, to come up with your brand, your product or service? Okay. The next one we have, I know I'm going really fast, but there's a lot, that's why. You want to know your numbers. So anytime you step into a meeting, you got to, all this stuff that we're going over is things you need to prepare beforehand. So one of the most important things is knowing your numbers, or you'll get intimidated. You'll get in there and you'll find out you're not prepared. Okay. So how do I know my numbers? Well, you can visit Native Arts Performing Professional Development and look in the pricing chapter. So hopefully a lot of us have taken that training course, and you can refer to how to price my work. Okay, make sure to have your numbers, like I just said, before going into any meeting. You got to know the back of your hand, like the back of your hand, what you can wheel and deal with. Okay, because ultimately, if numbers and money is what you're looking for, and you sit into a meeting and you're not sure of what your ceilings and your bottom is, it's going to get pretty awkward. Okay. Know the value of your assets and determine if they are flexible. So what you have to offer as an artist, what can you give? Okay, you have to figure that out. What can I give? Am I flexible with it? Is my pricing flexible? Is my art flexible? Can I do, for musicians, can I do, instead of an hour set, can I do 45? Or, you know, as a visual artist, can you use different materials? There's just a lot of things that you have to determine as the artist going into this meeting. What are you willing to be flexible with, okay? Like I previously said, know your bottoms and ceilings. What that means is when you're negotiating, when you go into a negotiating room, the bottom is the absolute walkaway number. So if I'm pitching $500, I want this project done for $500, and they say the lowest they can go is 400, that it's time to get out. It's not going to get any. There's no room to work. Your ceilings, if I'll take 500 as a bottom, I want to shoot a little higher, 750, 1,000, and then you have some playroom in there. Okay. But knowing your bottoms, and this will pop up a little bit later, but it's also known as your walk away point. Okay. There you go. The bottoms is your walk away point. So it might not just be a number figure with dollars. It might be that they are taking advantage of the meeting, whether it's by communication. There's another tab. I can probably touch on this on Wednesday. It's tips, tricks, and techniques. Okay, sometimes when you, as an emerging artist, and you want to do your own negotiating, you go into a room and someone is way more experienced at negotiating than you, and you don't want to feel like you're getting taken advantage of. So you want to make sure that if it's not numbers, maybe it's the intimidation factor that you want, you know what, this is not for me. I'm going to graciously walk away at this point. So whatever it is, and practice makes perfect. You're going to have to go through all these and really get the real time, but know what your walk away point is on that. Okay, your BATNA. This is another way of a technical term from Harvard that describes your walk away point. Okay, it's your best alternative to negotiated agreement. Okay. All right, knowing your leverage. So by the dictionary meaning to leverage is to use a quality or advantage to obtain a desired outcome or result. Okay. So what do you have under your belt that you can offer? Kind of one of those things. What do I have to play with? What am I willing to use as a tool to negotiate with? Okay. What is a concession going to cost me? So let's go over what a concession is. A concession is not just something, a place where you can buy hot dogs or drinks at a sporting event. Okay. A concession is something in business where it's something that you can give up, that you're willing to give up or gain. And let me try to break this down. For example, if I'm doing a show, if I'm going to do a music show, I'm a musician, and I'm going to negotiate with a club to have my band perform there, and they say, okay, well, this is great, we got it all figured out, and I'll say, is there a special parking for the band? Like, oh no, there isn't. You got to pay full price like everyone else. And then you can say that, well, I want some VIP passes for my parking. I want to be really close to where we load in. Can you do that for me? And you look at it, what is it going to cost to them? Nothing, right? But it's something that you have to see if they're willing to meet you on that point. Okay. What are some other concessions? Maybe maybe if you're doing work for someone and the contract comes out and this is what it is, and you can say, hey, I'll be there for X amount of time. The time that I'm allotted to be there, it's kind of going into lunch or dinner. Would you mind tossing in a dinner for this X amount? What is it going to cost them? At cost, which is fairly low. So then they'll have to decide, yeah, it's really something small to give for something large that I can possibly gain. So that's what a concession is. So you can wheel and deal those types of things. What is it worth to them? So most times when you're dealing with companies, they're really flexible with what kind of concessions they'll give up. Because a lot of times the concessions, they know their numbers, and little to no dollars or time or energy does it take for certain things that they can will and deal with. What is it worth to me? I would love a steak dinner. I would love that. I would love a salmon dinner if you can throw it in on top of what I'm doing. If you can put a cone out for me and I can park right VIP, that'd be perfect. Okay, it makes what I do feel a little bit more special, right? And what do I want in return? What do I want in return when I'm talking concessions or leverage? I want an enjoyable time. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be product or service. I just want to have good vibes. And that's, to a lot of people like myself, that's super important, okay, in a working environment. Okay, the next tab that we have, hopefully you guys are following along and not checked out by now. Have some water. All right. If you guys are following and you're having a good time, gaining a lot of information or finding this useful, maybe you can comment and say thumbs up. That way, maybe Hillary can text me and say, getting good responses. I can't see anything. Okay, we'll move on and let me know how we're doing. The next step in all this is to rehearse what you're doing, what you plan on talking about, okay? Oh my gosh, we're not even at the meeting yet. When you're rehearsing, you want to take the perspective of who you're negotiating with. Who are you negotiating with? Okay. A representative from a company, a museum, a festival, a business, an owner. Why should they make a deal with you? Why you? What makes you so special? What do you have to offer them? Right? They don't have to do that, but why do they make a deal with you? Okay, so when you're thinking about that, you want to envision how the conversation will go. Okay, in sports, we always say you play back the plays. You want to, in motion. Think about things in motion. Think about the conversation and how it's going to go. And you can kind of overdo it sometimes. I'm an overthinker. So I would try to think of every possibility possible and make sure that I'm kind of prepared for everything. But you know, you don't have to go too far into it. Just kind of play it back. Imagine how it will go. And as you're doing this, you want to make sure that if you propose something, or if your what you have set out, what you wrote out on paper, doesn't go the way it's that you planned out, what kind of rebuttals do you have? Okay. And in order to practice this stuff, sometimes you have to find, you know, a friend or family and role play so that you can have these times and opportunities where you're not just, your first actual play meeting in negotiation is with, you know, Phil Knight or somebody, you know, Oprah or something like that. You want to have your, get all the kinks out of your, all the jitters. So, you know, use a friend or family member and just say, hey, be this person and I'll be this person. I'll be me. And let's negotiate and see what I got. That way you can get quicker on what you have to offer. Ready yourself for all possible curveballs. Okay. As mentioned before, some things don't always go the way you want it. And, you know, sometimes I had this happen to me where I thought I was sitting in a meeting, getting ready to talk business. And nope, it was just the exact 180. We're not doing that. So, you know, it wasn't the time or the place. And you just got to be ready for all things. And curveballs come in all shapes and sizes. So being flexible is super important in negotiation room. Expect that your original plan may not be the final outcome. All right. So when you have your goal out there of what you want, just know that 9 out of 10 times, it's going to be a variation of what you want. So it's not going to be fully that. So don't expect like, well, it's not exactly what I wanted. So, you know, it fell apart. It was a terrible deal. If you aren't comfortable with yourself in that setting, go back to the drawing board. So as you're rehearsing these conversations with someone and you're like, you know what, I'm getting nervous. I'm getting sweating. I'm getting red. I'm uncomfortable. Keep doing it, but don't book something. Don't schedule a meeting until you feel somewhat confident. Okay. That's what you want to build by doing these rehearsals. I want to be confident. Okay. And you can practice and practice and practice, but know that eventually, a lot of people are so afraid. I've done these trainings and so many people say, I'm so afraid to do negotiations, and just practice them. And sometimes for me, you just have to get thrown in the fire. That's how you learn. So, but this whole tab right here is just to prepare yourself as much as possible for any situation. Okay. Preparing, the preparation part of it. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close to that actually meeting. When meeting with someone, you want to dress appropriately. Okay. If you are an artist, eccentric artist, be yourself. Okay. If you're going to do business with a business person and that's the setting, dress nicely, dress appropriately. I highly discourage anyone to go in like they rolled out of bed. So dress professional accordingly. Okay. What? Bring a pen and notebook. Wow, that's so simple. I put it in there for a reason. There's a lot of people that go into meetings unprepared. And that is one thing that some people like, oh, I got my phone. Don't use your phone. Okay. When you use your phone nowadays, it's a tool for you, but it is not, it kind of has a negative connotation. Like, okay, we're in a meeting and okay, I got you. Yeah, no, to me, it looks like you're texting and you're not valuing my time. So you use a phone, maybe it's a clock or gauge or calculator, but you never want to have it, you don't want to do that in a meeting. So bring a notebook and a pen. And when you're writing in your notebook, want to make sure that you have it kind of like, you don't want to be like, all the notes I'm taking, you get to see that, okay? So it's kind of on the side or tilted so that they're not, they can't have direct access to what you're writing about. The next one is arrive early. I just texted Hillary, said, thank you, awesome, okay, good job. Arrive early for your meeting, arrive early for whatever you need to, because when you show up on time or late, that shows the person you're meeting with that you don't value their time. It's not about you. You're not valuing their time, okay? So the rule of thumb is always 15 minutes early. Even if you get there earlier, you can always just sit in the parking lot and just wait, kind of go over your things again, make sure you double check, have everything that you need for this meeting, right? All the numbers, go back and check it over one more time. It's almost like, and I know it's Hawaiian people, we're island culture, and indigenous people, native people, were always like not really on it with time. But if you're your own business and your own brand, these are the little changes that you need to make in order for your brand to be successful. So arrive early. Okay. This is a quote that I found that really spoke loud to me when I took on this project to do artist negotiations. And it is, if you don't understand people, you won't understand business. Okay, so what does that mean? In a negotiation room, there's so much data that's being collected, and I'll go over this in a little bit later. There is human nature reactions, there's body language, there's maneuvering within conversations. And there's all these little things that you need to pick up, because why? You have to care about people. You have to understand, like this says, you have to understand people. If you don't understand people, relationship businesses may not be for you. Yeah. And a lot of us have to do our own relationship building. So there are alternatives to having a manager or an agent to do this type of thing for you, that their forte is to understand people. But as artists, emerging artists, professional artists, it doesn't hurt to try. Even though it's not our comfort zone, or we clam up in that certain situations, but just try. Okay. Negotiation techniques. Okay, so these are notes that I have for you. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. That's a no-no. Focus. Stay focused. Be alert about your body language, their body language. Eye contact. Okay, you want to have good eye contact. You don't have, what is he looking at? Why can't he focus? Confidence. Have the confidence. Okay, speak assertively, and be happy. Use your smile gestures. It looks like this. Okay, it's a lot more welcoming and a lot more received when you're happy about something. So use that. Use the laugh. You find these little things, but these are just tips, techniques. People like who they are or who they like to be. All right. So what does that mean? Right now, I want you to think about it. You can even type it in the comments section. Think about someone that you like, someone that you look up to, a role model. It could be a celebrity, it could be a family member, it could be, a made-up thing. Write it in there. Think about who it really is. All right, you got someone? Are you like them? Or are they like you? Are you like them? Do you guys have things in common? Things that you admire about that person? Probably, huh? Most chances are you're like, yeah, I there's something about them that I just like, right? It's because you see qualities in that person that you can connect with. And that's why you like them. Simple as that. Now think on the opposite side of the spectrum. Think of someone that you dislike. Okay, when you think of someone When you think about that person, are there qualities of that person that you don't share with that person? Right? There's something about that guy, something about that girl. I don't know. Are they like you, or are they the opposite from you? So there's reasons, right? They're probably opposite from you. So when you think about these things, it's all how to connect with someone and why things happen. So why you like someone and why they don't like you. So just be alert for these things. Matching, mirroring, pacing, leading, all the nonverbal advantages. This is chapter 2. This is going to be artist negotiations part 2. I cannot go into it right now because this is for the advanced people, but mastering the sub, I think it's next. Mastering the subconscious mind of, when in a meeting. Okay. Another one to think about is the 10-second rule. What that is enticing someone else to speak first by being quiet, looking like you're writing something down. Okay. Writing that down. There's an awkward moment there, and a lot of times it kind of entices the other person to speak first, if that's what you want. Okay, everyone. What are we at? 30 something. Stretch with me. Okay. We are moving into the actual sit down moment. That's a lot to prepare for, right? Yes, it is. Okay. Now we are going into breaking of the ice. I don't know how to do it. How can I get there? I don't know. I've never done it before. I always feel so weird. Here we go. Keep it light with a handshake, a greeting, eye contact, and a smile. Okay? So if we were in person, we can do these types of interactions in person. Hey, how's it going? My name's Kaloku. Nice to meet you, Kaloku. All right, nice. Thanks. Right on. Smile. Be happy. Show some teeth. Okay? Compliments are free. Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you, Kaloku. That's right. We talked on the phone. Wow. Hey, that's a cool jacket. Cool place you got here. I like it. I'm digging the colors. Compliments are free. Okay. Throw something out there this is icebreakers. Hey, my name's Kaloku. Bob? Nice to meet you. Bob. Remember that name. Remember Bob. The most embarrassing thing is doing a negotiate with someone that you forgot their name. If it comes up later and, at the end of the deal and you're like, John? Thanks, John. It's Bob. That just possibly destroyed the whole meeting because they know you can't even remember their name. Okay. As simple as it is, you got to remember their name. Okay. Think of something. So there's these tricks and techniques to where someone says their name, try to rhyme it, try to find the first letter of it. Think of something, how you're going to connect that name. Okay. Create small talk, but avoid being the first to open. Hey, how's it going? My name's Kaloku. Bob, nice to meet you. Cool place you got here. I like your jacket. That's awesome. Right on, create small talk. Right on, nice to meet you. And then just kind of let them say, they're obviously gonna say something back, unless they're just like, thanks, or they're gonna say something back. You're just like, engage in that. Let them talk. Okay. Keep it organic. What does that mean? Don't be fake. Be yourself. In a negotiating meeting, one of the things that I always try to pick up on is this person trying to sell me? Is this person being real? Is this person being organic, I guess? Or is this person putting on a facade, a personality to talk to me? I want to deal with you. Even if all the things we talked about that you're not so good at, I could care less. I just want to talk to you. Okay? Building rapport. Here we go. Talking to people, right? You want to create trust by trading questions. So this is all before you actually talk numbers, okay? So we haven't even got there yet. We're talking, hey, how's it going, Bob? Nice to meet you. Right on. I'm glad thank you for making time for this meeting. Hey, how long have you had this company? Talk about that. How long have you had this position? Are you originally from this area? And then, they're going to have this dialogue. Hey, I just moved here from so-and-so, whatever it is. When you're trading questions, you're building emotional equality. So when you're talking, you want to find things that they're talking about or you're throwing out there that you can be like, oh, cool, me too. We have some things in common, right? We can relate to people. We're actually having a conversation. This is really cool. It's going well. Connect, be sincere, okay? Again, the fakeness, like a lot of people can smell fakeness and then they're like, all right, let's see what's going on here. And they'll immediately switch from looking to have an organic, common place of talk to be like really standoffish, okay? So just be yourself. Display genuine curiosity. Okay, so if someone starts talking, trading questions, and they're saying, oh yeah, I've been in the museum business for 5 years, and you can be like, wow, that seems like you really enjoy this type of work. Wow, really? That's so cool. I've kind of always wanted to, to see what it's like to be in this industry or something like that. But this is another thing I forgot to write down. This is called labeling. So this is a note for me. So I can go over labeling on Wednesday if you guys want to go over that more. But labeling is like if someone talks about something. Yeah, I've been in the music business for 20 years. I've been a promoter for 10 years, and I'm an agent for this company for 5 years. It's like, wow. And it looks like you really enjoy the industry. Okay, it's kind of like taking a piece of what they said, reiterating it to bring it back up so that they know and you can show that you're actually paying attention. 20 years, wow, that's some time. You must know the business like the back of your hand, or you must have met a lot of great people. So there's things like that. Just display genuine curiosity. I'm really sincerely interested in learning more about you as a person. Finding commonalities. Okay, so basically it's all common ground. You want to find like, hey, me too. That's why we're in this meeting today, because we are alike in some ways. We're common. Be yourself. Style is more important than substance initially. Okay, be yourself. Style is more important than substance initially. So a lot of times, okay, for myself, I may not have much to offer, or I may not have this, or I might not feel like I am on the level of the person that I'm negotiating with, but maybe that person wants to invest in you, not what you have, not what you do. They just believe in you. Okay, so a lot of times that could be what the deciding factor is for them. Okay, you make beautiful paintings. That's great. That's amazing. But I want you to be part of what my vision is. Okay, so just think about that. Collecting data. Ooh, Hillary, how are we at on time?
We're doing well. You have actually 15 more minutes. You're doing well.
Okay. All right. Hopefully we can get through it. Collecting data during rapport. Okay, so this is what I do all the time. Be a good listener. That's how you collect data. You want to know more about what they're talking about, what they stand for. Be a good listener. How do you be a good listener? You have to be quiet. You have to listen with your ears, okay? People love to talk about themselves. Native people, indigenous people, we love to talk about them. People love to talk about themselves. I do. Sometimes, I have my wife has to, that's enough. you know, but that's the nature of people. They just, when they get on a roll, they get excited about what they're representing and they want to talk about themselves. So you have to be conscious of this and fight the urge, fight the urge to do it, especially in the first meeting. Okay. You let them talk. You let them talk about themselves. You let them give all the data that they can give so that you can collect this and bring it up if you need to, something that you can maybe find commonalities with later. Take notes on anything and everything they give you. Take notes mentally. I encourage you to write them down because, you know, for myself, memory is not so much my game now. I'm forgetting a lot of things, but if you write things down, like, oh, okay, this person has, you know, he moved from, okay, he originally came from Montana. That's cool. Okay, I'm gonna bring that up later if I find something. All right, cool. Montana. Oh, he moved with his family of three. He's got a family of three. I don't know how old those kids are. All right, so things like that. Reiterate points in their previous statements. So kind of what I said earlier, where you're bringing it back up. It's like, oh, okay, dang, you're from Montana? I've always wanted to go fishing there. Kind of random thought, but you know, I've seen magazines and I've seen some ads just randomly of Montana. You're from there, and it just kind of brought me back to this vision I had of just wanting to catch a fish in Montana. And then they're going to be like, wow, you should go check out this place. This is, if you ever go there, stay in this place and okay. And you're building those kind of things, but you're again, collecting data. Master the subconscious. We talked about this earlier. Looking at body language, looking at how they're delivering, the tone that they're speaking on. You don't want to be that person. If I'm talking to myself like this and I'm talking here, and then, you know, in response, the other person's like, well, cool, you're a musician. Nice, right on. Okay, so what that was, it brought everything down. You want to match that. Okay, so I'll go over more about how to do these types of tricks on Wednesday if you want to know more. But you just want to match the energy level, okay? Getting into the negotiation. Oh, all right, here we are. Let them start the talks, okay? Let them open up. If you need to open, so how can I help? How do I play into your company's visions? How can I play? What's my role in what we can do for you, okay? The less you talk, the better chance you have of not spoiling it. Yeah, a lot of us like to ruin deals by talking too much. Okay, so the less you talk, the better chance you have of not spoiling it. So true. Okay, there's a saying, you can talk yourself out of a great deal. And this is why. Don't make the first offer unless you have to, and only if you are prepared. Okay, if you have experience in doing it and you're comfortable with your offer, present it. If you're not, let them offer. And why? Is because when you let them make the first offer, you'll get to see how they value you, how they value your products and services, and how they value you as a person. Okay, never ever accept the first offer. Okay, so we call this snap agreements. Okay, so it's like there's a situation, you know, Joe is selling a lawnmower for $1,500. Bob comes in and is like, hey, how much is that lawnmower? Then can I start it up? Boom. Hey, I'll give you $1,300 for it. Deal. All right, cool. We're done. Bye. Take your lawnmower. And really, you know, Joe would have been like, well, shit, I would have took way more or way less or whatever. But you don't want to do, or here, for example, hey, I'm weaving a necklace. And then someone offers you $100 for it. And you're like, okay, I'll take it. And in their mind, they're like, dang, I would have paid $500 for it. So, you know, just things like that. You just don't want to make snap judgments or snap agreements like that. into the negotiation. This is another half of it. Don't negotiate with yourself. So when if you're not accustomed to how these things go with negotiations, a lot of times people are afraid of it because they think they're going to get taken advantage of. A lot of times people too, they try to, they're looking out for themselves or their company, and they want to negotiate as best as they can, cutthroat negotiations, right? And it sometimes can make you feel like, maybe you're right. Maybe I am worthless. Maybe my products and services aren't that good. You know what? You're right. And what you did was you just lowered what you valued yourself at, what we talked about before. Know your bottom, okay? So don't negotiate with yourselves. Just stay firm on who you are and your products and services. Know your bottoms and negotiate higher is the next one, next bullet. So using, just for simple math, $1,000 is what you would, I would love to walk away from this deal with $1,000. Anything less than 500, I can't really, that's my break line. So maybe we'll start shooting for 750. That's where we want to be at. Yeah. And then we'll see how everything else plays, what the flexible or what leverages are thrown in there, what concessions are in there. But that's a great place because I know he can talk me down, he or she can talk me down, bare minimum $500, okay? After you negotiate something, or even while you're doing it, you never want to disclose your bottom line. So not ever. So when you settle on something, okay, cool, nice deal, thanks, Joe. We settled at $750 for this gig that I'm going to do. Perfect. And you're like, well, cool. Because I came in here thinking like, I was just going to, my bottom was 500. You don't tell them that. And they'd be like, what? She got screwed, right? You don't want to do that. And you don't want to do this after the fact. Like, hey, guess what? I did this thing for someone and he paid me $750 for it, but everyone else pays me $500 for it. They might know someone that goes around, our circles are only so small. And they might go like, wait a minute, what? He paid $750 or I paid $500 for it? That's not right. That's not right. So then you're going to get a red flag in the circle or whatever, your community. Stay away from round numbers. All right. So when you are pricing things and you say, how much is that guitar? I'm using a lot of examples, right? How much is that guitar? It's let me do this again for services. $300 for a gig, a music gig, $300 for 1 hour. It's like $300. Just to me, if someone tells me $300, like that's a number you just made up. So I'm going to, how about 200? Right? I already know you can go down because you gave me a round number. But if someone says, so after taxes and everything, it comes out to $349. That's what this is for. And you're like, oh shoot, they put some thought into this. So it's $349 or $299. I guess that's what it is. Okay, cool. So anyway, it's a little bit more thought out when you don't go straight to a round number. These are just suggestions, by the way. Ask for more to increase your wiggle room. So whatever you're trying to negotiate with, always go a little higher, okay? That way, when you start to like kind of go back and forth, that you're not going under what your happy zone is, your content zone. The next bullet is no free gifts, no items, don't give items, services, info, as much as possible. You don't want to start off your first meeting, your first interaction with like, okay, well, I'm a painter and I have 3 paintings that I do. What I'll do is I'll give you one for free if you take my business, right? Or if you, it's like, well, okay, that's cool. That was really nice of you. I bought 3, contracted for 3, got 1 for free. All right, cool. You come back to the drawing table next. And it's like, okay, I'm selling another 3. It's like, oh, okay, well, what about that? You gave me 1 for free last time. It's like, I know, but that was just for me to get my foot in the door. It's like, oh, I kind of want another 1 for free. In fact, I was hoping I have a larger setting. I was hoping for 2. That way I can use it for maybe 2 venues. And you're like, wait, what did I just do here? I'm kind of getting in a hole where I have to give out more things. It's because you started off that way, okay? Sometimes you need to, depending on what you want, but I would not recommend that. Salami, don't break down or itemize your packages. So, yeah, this is a rabbit hole. You'll get into, um, hey, I'm a painter and I'm doing these 3 paintings. They kind of like have the same theme, they go with each other, but I'm selling it as a package. It's $500. I mean, sorry, it's $1,500 for this 3 piece. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's on the market for $1,500, $14.99, if you will. And someone comes up to you and says, "Those are nice. I only have room for one, though. How much is one?" And you're like, "Oh, well, I guess $500." And the guy's like, "Well, how about 400? You know?" So what you did was, and then you say you sell it. The piece that you wanted together was 1,500 as the deal. Now you're itemizing things out, making it less. You're probably going to get less value for what the whole thing was worth, you know? So, or even in music, you don't want to do that. I'm doing a band gig for $1,500 and there's 5 guys in the band. And someone says, "Well, how long is that? How long do you play?" And we're like, "Oh, okay. Well, 2 sets. Each set is 2 hours." Well, I want the band for 1 hour. And you're like, "Okay, well, that 1 hour, so it's 1,500. I guess it's 750. That'd be 750." And then it's like, wait a minute, we're getting a whole bunch less. Got to bring the same amount of equipment, drive the same amount of time, and we're getting a lot less. It's their choice to bring it down to 1 hour, but you have to stay firm. Like, this is the package you want. This is what we normally do. Stay there. Okay, understanding the flow. We're kind of rounding it up here. So I see we're almost done. I know this is a lot, you guys. So thank you for staying with me on this. Understanding the flow. Every choice you make has a given value attached to it. So every time you offer something, every time you accept something, there's a value that is attached to it. So you need to understand those. Be cognitive of tempo changes. Okay, if someone is trying to use a conversation and dictate the flow of it and speed up so that maybe you don't have enough time to think, you can always use the word maybe, I'll think about it, maybe. So that way you're not locked into something by making a decision because someone else dictated the flow and you weren't ready for it. Avoid yes traps. So these two are other things that I'm going to go over later in discussion. So yes traps are things like, wouldn't you agree that your art really needs to be in my building here? Yeah. Wouldn't you agree that it probably would sell better at $50 and 100? Yeah. You probably would sell that. Well, wouldn't you agree that that I should probably hire you to make 50 for my my wall here? Yeah, that sounds good. 50, yeah, sure. But you're undervaluing everything that you're doing. So just avoid when people say like, wouldn't you say it's sunny outside? Yeah. Wouldn't you say this? Well, how about you do it for free? Okay. You don't want to do those types of things. Like, I'm just kidding. I'm saying yes to everything. Do not violate the perception of fairness. It's an immediate veto. So when you're talking to somebody, and always be fair about what it's not take unless that's what you want. But if it's something you want to build a relationship with, you have to know that you have to be willing to give too, and they have to gain. Sometimes for the person that you're negotiating with, if they gain, it might be better for you in the long run because it's a relationship that you're building that you can then capitalize on in the future. You can plant the seeds and let it sow through this business or this person you're negotiating with who might know a lot of people that can get you in the door that you might not be able to do by yourself. But if you start to violate that fairness, well, like, okay, if that person that you're dealing with ever starts feeling like I'm being taken advantage of, the deal is off. So you know what? We're done here. We're done here. Thank you for your time. And you're like, what just happened here? Okay. So be cognitive or be conscious of those types of things. Most people want to negotiate pieces of a pie, and a good negotiation expands the size of the pie or the amount of the pies, okay? Which is what I kind of touched on just on the bullet before. When you're too greedy up front, it's going to ruin your chances for future business. And when you ruin chances for future business within with someone that you're dealing with, or you're negotiating with, that person a lot of times might know a lot of people in your community or in your industry, and you might be pricing yourself out of any future work. So when you're negotiating, think about those types of things. Okay, do you want a huge pie now, or do you want a couple pies down the road? Yeah, something to weigh out. Okay. Everyone walks away wondering if they could have done better. It doesn't fail. Anytime you walk out of the room, you're like, all right, cool. Thanks, Joe. That was perfect. Thanks, Bob. Nice to meet you guys. And you walk out of there and it's like, dang, was that dumb? Could I have done better? Probably. But you know what? It's nature. That's what we always do. It's what we always think. But just be content with what you did, and everything's a learning opportunity. Okay, so in closing, all right, Hillary, I think this is my last slide. So in closing, this is what we want to leave people with. And I'm looking at the time, I'm just about, went a little bit over, but this is fine. Okay, in closing, before you walk away, you want to figure out a follow-up meeting. When would you like to get back together again? When would you like to assess the work done or the services provided? You want to reconvene in a month? You want to, is it 3 months from now? Want to look back and see how things have went, how things gone? Schedule something, okay? Before leaving, and we should know this as professional development, you gotta have business cards, okay? So when you're exchanging info, it's not good enough to just write down their name and their number. It's customary to have something to give and to receive. So if you're that person, make sure that you always have something to give. And as Native people, when we're dealing with, whether it's Western businesses or Native businesses, a business card, and also something that speaks of who you are, a brand of you. That way, if I have 10 meetings today and everyone gives me, 10 business cards, the one that'll stand out to me is someone who had designed something else, or this person, the business card that attached to it was a little charm or something about who they are. I will remember them. I will remember those things. So when you exchange cards, thank you for your time. And like we started the conversation, keep it light, keep it friendly, be yourself, be, colorful, be gracious, be thankful, keep the card present and visible. So here's a business card. Thank you. I got your card too. Yep, I got it. Thank you. And you either hold it, if you're sitting at a desk, you put it on the table in front of you, visible to them and yourself. So next to your notebook on the table right there, boom, there's your business card. I haven't put it away yet. One of the most detracting things is when someone gives you a business card, you're like, oh, cool, put it away in my back pocket, or just throw it in my purse, my backpack down there. Yeah, put it away. And it's like, wow, that's one of the last things they're going to remember is like, here's my business card. Thank you. Got yours. And they just threw my business card into a pile that they're never going to use it, or it just didn't look very respectful. So keep it visible either on the desk or hold it in your hand. It doesn't have to be like, I got your business card. Yeah, here it is. No, just hold it. Just be like, thank you. Yeah, cool. Got it. We're talking right on. Okay. And as we leave, then you can kind of tuck it away somewhere. Off-topic conversation to keep it light. So just how we started, make sure that it's fun. It's something to smile about. Yeah, hey, make sure you tell your kids, whatever, or tell your family, say hi to your family for me. Thank you for your time, for them allowing you to meet with me. Thank your boss for me. I hope you enjoy the location, enjoy town. There's a handshake and a smile, and just make sure you're just happy and thankful for everything. So that concludes my arts negotiations, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. There's a lot of information. I tried to go really fast, but it's a lot to soak in, and there's a lot of practice. But if you guys have any questions, Hillary, is this a good time to open it up?
Yeah, perfect timing, Kaloku. Thank you so much. We do have
You're
two
welcome.
two questions.
Okay.
But are you still game to bring the Zoom attendees into a group discussion too?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's do it. While I'm bringing everybody in from the Zoom call, the first question was actually off Facebook Live. His name is Matthew Anderson. He asked, what is the new recommended greeting until this pandemic is under control, since handshaking puts our people at risk?
If you are actually meeting with someone in person, just keep distance, just as long as you are respectful of their space. Um, so that's the one thing, it's people gauging, right? Knowing how to relate with that person. So if they're like, you can walk into the room and be like, are they standoffish? They probably want to respect that space. So give them that 6 feet plus, if we have to shout across the room, that's what it is. And we should know. And as for yourself, if you are, want to respect your space as well, make that be known initially, so that it's not going to be awkward as you continue on. Does that answer your question? Throw an elbow, maybe a shaka.
Let's see here. I think he might still be on, but since this is recorded, he can definitely check in a little bit later too. But I know that's probably a couple other people. The next question is
or here's another thing. If it's something that you don't want, either of you don't feel comfortable meeting in person, just use Zoom, use FaceTime, use something online.
Okay, wonderful. And then the second question we had was from Shauna Sunrise. And I'm not sure if she's still in the chat or not, if she wanted to ask herself, or I can just do it for her.
Hi, Shauna.
Oh, I think she's still on mute. Let me see if I can help you.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Oh, I was muted.
Yeah.
I know, it's so crazy. Thank you. Yeah, I'm from Navajo Nation and Santo Domingo Pueblo here in New Mexico. First of all, thank you. You should definitely come out to New Mexico at some point in your career and perform. So
would love to, yeah.
It'd be great. I grew up performing like you in my community with a dance group. My father is a dance group head, and both my parents are singers. My question is, what if you know the person already? You walk into the room and you're like, hey, I know them, like I know them well. And then they already know your family, they know who you are, so it kind of skips to another level.
Yeah.
Which has happened to me all the time, my whole life, where you go in and, oh, how's your mom? How's your dad? And then you're trying to do like your business. So,
yeah.
You got to I've done it before where you finagle it.
Yeah.
It's just that whole, like, how am I going to work this now? Anyway.
Good question, Shauna. So that is something that us as Native people are always going to, it's a battle that we have to figure out, and everyone will have their own opinions for it. For me, I'm glad you brought it up, because one of the other things that I wanted to touch on is when negotiating, sometimes it's a who you know business, right? So it's like who you know that can get your foot in the door of certain things.
Right.
Now we're here. Now we're discussing, I actually know the person I'm meeting with, right?
Right.
Man, that's a tough one, because you never want to, like, if it's a family member, for me, I never want to overcharge them.
Right.
And I never want to make them feel out of place. So for me, in my family, I'll just do whatever it is that needs to be done. And if they, most of the time they'll compensate you accordingly, but it's not always the case. But family is really hard. And so some people will say, even for family, across the board, it's what your price is. Family is 10%, they'll put that out there, 10% off, but it's hard. I agree.
Yeah, that's my dilemma of life.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's just, and my mother, they know the proceeding of usually my mother, my father, or my sister. They're all kind of in the community,
Yeah,
so I have to figure out, like, what I developed is the me, like you were talking about, the me of being personal, I guess,
Mhm.
being unique compared to the rest of my family.
You know,
Why I'm unique, I guess. To
yeah,
why they,
I
yeah.
would encourage you to try. So is your product service maybe, is it performing arts?
No, it should be. No, actually, I'm an actor, so
Okay.
I've done auditions on like my phone and got roles. So like I'm an actor on that level. But my business is kind of many levels. I'm an organizer right now in programming, but my business in the arts is I own a floral design company, and I just did a video and everything like that to sell myself through a museum that's local in the Southwest at the Herd. And then I also create jewelry.
Hmm.
So that's kind of something that's hand down from my family. Um, like jewelry has all been in our family. And then I'm a weaver too, like
Hmm.
a Navajo weaver on my mother's side. So I'm
Uh-huh.
a fifth generation weaver, but I do more education in weaving, but I do most of the stuff I sell is either my floral design business and my jewelry.
Okay.
So,
And so
and
when you
I always
negotiate,
get ripped off, I feel like sometimes, because I'm just too
okay. So with the things
giving.
that you are selling is where you feel like you're getting ripped off. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just when it comes to like my organizing or any others, I know my complete value. Do you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
And so I know that like that's strong. But then when it comes to like I usually give my jewelry away, which is really bad, but and that's good karma, but at the same time everyone's like you should sell your work, and when I start
Yeah.
to, I always feel like I get ripped off, I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
so I but then I think, it's karma and I'm just gonna move on and blah blah blah, but yeah, so
well, let's try to avoid
go
that
ahead, sorry.
feeling of, well, karma ripped me off
Did you cut
again.
out?
Am I here?
Uh-oh,
Here? Can you hear me?
is froze.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Is
Oh,
it me?
okay. No.
Am I on?
Yeah, you are. Okay.
Okay. So let's try to get away from that karma, that feeling of being ripped off. So
Okay.
when you're dealing with certain people that are close to you and you feel comfortable pricing your things at a certain point, I mean, if the price is what it is, they they should, the best family and friends that support your business are the ones who don't ask for discounts.
Right.
It's the ones who will pay what you're worth, right? You know what you're worth, but they need to pay that if they want something from you.
Right.
If it's something that you're willing to be flexible with, I encourage you to be creative and think about other ways, leverage, concessions that maybe that you can get from them. Is it,
Okay.
I don't want to do something free unless maybe I know someone that's supposed to be there is like can lead me to another venue or a
Right.
booker, something like that. Um, so just try to think of creative ways that you won't feel like, if you feel like you got to do certain things for free or by discount for certain people,
Yeah.
you got to have something else on the side that's maybe not, at first it might not be visible. So like concessions and, like I said, things that are outside of the box, and pull
Okay.
those in that maybe they haven't thought about those things either. And it might be really
Right.
easy for them to do.
Right. Okay. Sweet. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Shauna. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Kaloku, we actually had a question from Facebook Live just a second ago. Um, Liz just wrote saying for pricing, maybe you can do the wholesale retail method, but tailor it to performing artist, question mark. Instead of wholesale retail, do friends and family price / venue price. She said, just
Mhm.
a suggestion, smiley face. Great
Yeah.
job, Lokes.
Thank you, sis. Yeah, that's so that again, that goes into pricing, the pricing chapter of the NAPD manual, knowing how to price your stuff even with family members and close friends. Yeah. So what Liz just suggested is in the book. It's in the pricing chapter. And then I would just suggest on top of that is to think about other creative ways um, to have tools under your belt that you can negotiate with.
Wonderful.
Facebook.
Thanks, Kaloku. I think we just had somebody join our Zoom call that actually came from Facebook Live, and I shared the link. Cynthia Masterson just joined us, so welcome.
Hi, Cynthia. Okay, we're muted. Okay, there you are.
Okay, there I am. Hi.
Hi.
I didn't have a question. I just wanted to be in on the Zoom.
Oh, perfect. Welcome.
That's funny.
Well, Kaloku, I guess I kind of have a question real quick, and then Cynthia can chime in because I think we're about to talk at the same time. But do you, maybe for Wednesday's webinar, if you have a list of resources that other performing artists and artists could share with them while you are doing your virtual office hour, I can share on the Zoom call as well as on Facebook Live. If you have any like articles that you think performing artists and the other Indigenous artists would benefit just reading up on artist negotiations or that topic.
Yeah, I can have things for, this is for Wednesday, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I can have some things ready for then.
Awesome.
So I guess I have a question now about just kind of how things have changed for me really fast as a teaching artist. And I've had to move a lot of classes and my audience has changed virtually. So whereas before I was teaching a lot of kids and youth, and now I'm teaching mostly adults virtually. And so fortunately it's fallen under grants so far. But yeah, it's like, how do you monetize that going forward? I'm just kind of struggling with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It would depend on who you're dealing with, I guess. So who's your who's the organizer of what you're working for?
It's me, you know, it's all me. Whereas before I'd been going into schools doing after school lessons. Now it's just kind of like flying by the seat of my pants, throwing out lessons online. And yeah, so it's just one of those kind of new quarantine problems.
Oh yeah. I have a I have a cultural school as well, and we're dealing with the same thing, just doing everything on Zoom, and I'm just waiting for a different, the next phases to open up that we can actually kind of get somewhat back into a swing of things.
Right.
Yeah. I know quarantine just really like threw everything for a loop, huh?
Right. Absolutely. It's more of a hustle, It's all about the hustle right now. And that's, for me, I think that it's just in organizing. I'm organizing a set of sessions with a group called Resilience, and we're starting next month, and it's called Place Sessions. We're doing something kind of like this, but it's talking about using tools for the next level as Indigenous people, what we're going to do, after this pandemic, knowing that things are going to be the same, things are going to change. So we got to be positive and move accordingly, and like our ancestors have, to move to the next level and adapt and keep moving in a positive way.
Okay. Yeah, on the hustle, it's like when this quarantine thing hit, it's like everyone was on the hustle before the quarantine, and now it's like you just have to be more creative and with your hustle. And so that's what that's what a lot of people have done, and including ourselves. So if there's no more questions, Hillary, if there's another question, just let me know. But maybe I'll share a story of negotiations that actually happened with myself, and I'll tell you how they worked or may not have worked. So I'm a musician. I book for myself, I book for my band, and I made one deal with a club, and it was, a lot of times for musicians, they want to just hire you out for, they'll pay you a flat fee, and you'll play from this time to this time. and this is what it is. And the bar takes everything else. And I negotiated it. Well, well, I like percentages, and I'm going to go with 40%. And then the house takes 60%, right? It's like, okay. That was the initial agreement. And I think it was 1 or 2 months later, we came back to the drawing table. It was like, you know what? That's really not fair. The house needs to make a lot more in order to sustain. So we went 70-30. We were there for a little while, and it was good, but we figured out, according to that business and then to where we were, it had to be adjusted again. So that was one example of ways to be flexible with you as an artist and with your promoter or venue. Another one was, I had this run for, it was like 4 or 5 years. I had my band that was, wait, let me think about this. Maybe I shouldn't let it all out, but let me think. Okay. Okay, here, let me see if I can throw it out without making it general. So at that point, I knew my value, where I can come in as a solo artist and I can say, hey, this is my fee for it. And I went in there and I said, this is my fee, with the understanding that should business pick up for you, if I'm the marketing face talent that's in here, I want to bring in more guys to come up and get a bigger sound. And if I can start bringing more of my band in, I want the price to increase for the artist fee. And so every month we would go down the line and look at our numbers for this day that I was doing my performances. And yep, sure enough, the bar was making a lot more money. They're hitting capacity. So okay, I want everyone paid. So that was that. And we ran that for a little while. And then I said, you know what? Now I know there's a line out the door. I have more leverage. Leverage for me is, I know my value, and there's a lot of people coming to see that performance that my band's doing. And I feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick, because the bar can, that's their room. Their gain is a lot more than my gain. So I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to charge a cover charge. Cover charge is going to be a minimal $3, right? So if you have a club that's bringing in 300 people a night, that's a good $900, right? So we had that, and another way it was flexible was, okay, it got bigger. Now we got to get security in here. Who's paying for the security? The club is. I wanted a DJ to come in as well. Who's paying for the DJ? Who's paying for the sound guy? And so essentially at a point, there was some numbers that were being hit by the bar that was absurd for a weeknight in a suburban town. And they were making money from, I think it was anywhere from $7,000 to $15,000 on an off night. And so, in the club business, it's Friday, Saturday is your money makers. You might get a bonus Thursday or Sunday. But for me, I was doing this thing on a Wednesday. And for the club to make 7 on the low, 15 on the high, 9 was the median. So the average was about 9. And they're paying X amount of dollars for to their talent. It wasn't fair to me. So I went back to the drawing board. I said, this is what the deal needs to be, or I can go do the same thing somewhere else on the street, because you're not the only club in town. And so at that point, I had everyone getting paid. I was making a sliding scale through, we split the door so that there was enough people to pay, the added entertainers or performers that I wanted to build this night, because I had this vision of not just being a band gig. It was like DJ, band, sound guy, lights, everything, right? It was an experience for people. I wanted to build an experience. And every night I would look at what the numbers were. So from the time we started to the time we ended, I want to know that number. And so we ran that. There was another sliding scale, because that was like, it was great and they were making money, and I wanted to throw another thing on the back end. So I like to do back end deals where if you make above this median mark that we agree on, anything above that, I'd like, 10%, 15%, whatever it is. So I was making a percentage anytime that there was more people showing up than the average. And so what that did was, it definitely built confidence, not only in myself, but in the band, in the night with the owners, because they knew that I knew my numbers going into it. I knew what my value was. I knew the numbers that they're making, and I knew the value of what was in the market for that time, for that day, the time period. And so every time we went back to the table, I had my facts together, and as did they. So that's just an example of how you can build things up. It didn't start off that way, for sure. I was just by myself, so, but it ended up being a great venture for both sides. We both felt like we were winning, and that's the kind of negotiation that you want. And there's simple things. I forgot to introduce myself, actually. So I'm Kaloku when you guys are introducing yourself. So Shauna, thank you for going in depth. I'm native Hawaiian, and I'm a professional performing artist. And one of my big things was, one of my big deals, I was able to get on a contract that we performed in Japan. And that was through my Auntie Vicky Holt Takamine. She's a kumuhula. And so it was of who it was my auntie was the one who kind of kicked this thing off, and really took me to that next step, that next level, where it built confidence not only in the negotiation room, but also on stage as well. So it was a great thing for me, and I was there for 4 years. And so you can have these grand negotiations where you're doing, international contracts, and, doing bar clubs nights, and doing, a whole bunch of stuff. And then as I was thinking about this presentation, one of the smallest things that was a huge concession for us, a group from Hawaii that lives in Japan, I went and I would have these negotiations with the Japanese. And one of the things that was really important to us as a staff was every now and then we wanted to have the ice cream machine accessible to us. And then that's a perfect example. And let me tell you, it's not just a regular ice cream machine. It was like the most butteriest ice cream machine. Anybody who went to Japan, they know about the ice cream machine, soft serve. And it was, as a concession, what did it cost that company to bring it out so that we can use it every now and then? Nothing, absolutely there. But it was such a big thing for us. It was like, we're so happy about this ice cream machine. And when we're talking about negotiations, that's one thing that was like a concession, a perfect example, so to be creative about what you're asking for, what makes you happy, and what could make them happy as well, and then for them to bring out the ice cream machine, it didn't cost them anything. You just had to move it a little bit, but in return they had a happier cast. And it built that rapport that was like, well, if I can do something small like this, they're going to be a lot more receptive to me as a company and as a person. Building relationships. Yeah. So those are, that's my ice cream machine example.
Gotta eat.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Yay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Hillary.
All right. Well, look at you, right at the marker, 3:30. Perfect, Kaloku. Look at you. I just wanted to thank everybody, especially Kaloku, for being an amazing presenter, and for our Zoom registrants to be our little guinea pig today to try this just kind of talking circle, so to speak, of people sharing after the Q&A and just being able to bounce off ideas with each other. And it was a wonderful rapport, and we had great feedback from our Facebook Live community. It was really nice, very, very exciting conversation and topic. And I know, Kaloku, you have a lot more to cover with us on Wednesday. I shared the registration link on Facebook and on Zoom. So please come and join us. We're planning on doing the same type of, like kind of talking circle listening session kind of jam, probably right off the bat. Or actually maybe the first, maybe 15 minutes, Kaloku, you can go over those tips and tricks, and then we'll bring all the attendees in and have the same type of conversation on Zoom with questions being fed from Facebook Live to you through me. So thanks again, everybody. This was so much fun. And Kaloku, I already have a page of typed up notes, just stuff I learned. So I really do appreciate it. It was wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful Monday, and hope to see everybody on Wednesday. Thank you.
Before you guys go, thank you, Hillary.
Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you guys.
Aloha.
Mahalo.
All right. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.